Hi folks, back with another video. Let's dive into what stories got my attention today. Now, beginning this video with a look at the Caucasus region. There seems to be more accusations, which is not unusual, and of course, denials by the other side, which is of course another not so unusual thing. Let's take a look at the new list of accusations they have put forward. So, local officials in Nagorno-Karabakh accuse the Azeri forces of firing artillery on settlements in the area of Askaran and Martuni during the night. And of course, Azerbaijan said its positions had been attacked with small arms, mortars, tanks, and howitzers. Now, Azerbaijan's president Ilham Aliyev said that it was quote unquote very hazardous for Armenia to want Russian military support in the conflict. As I've already mentioned in previous videos, that Armenia has a defense pact with Russia. So, moving on, the story is that, of course, both sides are afraid of third parties being involved militarily. And on that front, as I have also covered, Turkey's involvement in this is the fact that, as of yet, because of the actions that Turkey has taken, it has taken a diplomatic hit from both the EU and NATO. Now, I cannot for the life of me understand what the thinking is by the leaders in the conflict. I mean, are they. I do not understand the kind of calculus they're doing. Hopefully, as time goes by, I can sort of understand and then maybe explain it to you, lovely people. Anyhow, moving on to the next story is Afghanistan. Now, Afghanistan's government claimed that on Sunday it killed a top Al Qaeda propagandist on an FBI most wanted list during an operation in the country's east. Now, the reported death of Hossam Abdurrauf, also known by nom de guerre Abu Mohsin al Masri. Now, details over the raid that led to Al Rauf's alleged death remains murky, even even hours after Afghanistan's intelligence service, the National Directorate of Security, claimed on Twitter to have killed him in Ghazni province. Now, the agency released a photograph late Sunday afternoon it described as Rauf's corpse, which resembled FBI image of the militant leader. Now, so far, Al Qaeda did not immediately acknowledge Rauf's reported death. The FBI, the US military's Central Command, and NATO also did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Now, the Afghan raid happened last week in Kunsaf, a village in Ghazni province, Andar district, from 150 kilometers or 90 miles southwest of Kabul, two government officials said. Now, Afghanistan, like Libya and Syria, is a victim of both domestic elements that are vying for power and foreign nations trying to play their own power politics in the region for various reasons. I could go on to, in the case of Afghanistan, it is clear that China is involved, Pakistan is involved, India is involved, and to a lesser extent, in a weird way, Iran is involved as well. However, militarily, both Pakistan and I'm pretty sure India is involved. Hopefully, Afghanistan can work out with international community towards stability, but it is a long, long road for Afghanistan to get any stability anytime soon. Now, moving on to Taiwan, it seems that hundreds of people rallied in Taiwan's capital on Sunday to call for China to release 12 Hong Kongers who were arrested at the sea by mainland authorities in part of a global campaign. Now, in part of a global campaign to support the protest movement in the financial hub. Let me try reading that again. So, 12 Hong Kong people were arrested at sea by the mainland authorities, and there is a global campaign to support the protest movement in the financial hub that is Hong Kong. Now, the 12 were arrested on August 23rd for alleged illegal entry into mainland China after setting off from Hong Kong in a boat bound for democratic Taiwan, amid a crackdown by Beijing on activists in the former British colony. Now, Hong Kong's Security Bureau has said all 12 were suspected of committing crimes including manufacturing or possessing explosives, arsons, and rioting in Hong Kong. The usual shtick the authoritarians put for any time they want to arrest anyone they fear of. Now, in the crowd in Taipei on Sunday were activists from several Taiwanese organizations as well as other residents of the island and many Hong Kongers. Now, many demonstrators wore black shirts with some holding signs demanding immediate release for the 12 and others waving yellow umbrellas, a symbol of the Hong Kong's protest movement. Now, on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, people demonstrated in at least dozen cities across the world, from New York to Vancouver to Adelaide in Australia, in support of those who were arrested in a campaign called hashtag Save 12 HK Youths. Now, prominent Hong Kong activists Joshua Wong and Nathan Law helped launch the campaign on social media. Hong Kong leader Carrie Lam has said that the 12 will have to face justice in the mainland and that her government will provide them with needed and feasible assistance. Now, 10 of them were on bail and not allowed to leave Hong Kong, authorities have said. Now, the way they're handling this issue pushes me in the direction of the protesters because it seems that these 12 individuals will be facing a kangaroo court. They will not be facing a, let's just say, an impartial authority. And that's the reason why, even if they have committed crime, I don't think the Beijing court is, let's just say, credible in assessing the nature of whatever crime they may or may not have committed. Anyhow, moving from one protesters to the other is in Thailand. Now, thousands of pro-democracy protesters took to the streets of Bangkok again on Sunday. Now, in the first demonstration since Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha ignored the protesters' deadline to resign. Now, the rally took place in the heart of the capital's shopping district, which usually draws large weekend crowds. Now, the demonstration was not as large as the previous rallies, however, as another had already been called for Monday evening outside of the German embassy. Now, in addition to calling for the Prime Minister's resignation, protesters' core demands include, of course, the more democratic constitution and reforms to the monarchy. Prime Minister Prayut has said that the demands should be discussed in Parliament, which is due to hold a special session on Monday and Tuesday. However, critics have said it is unlikely that the protesters' demand will be sufficiently addressed in a parliament filled with Prayut's supporters. Now, there were no signs of a major police presence around the demonstrations at the Ratchaprasong intersection, the same location where security forces initiated a bloody crackdown against protesters in 2010. Now, a government spokesman said there would be no use of force and called on demonstrators to remain peaceful. Now, so far, I would say that I commend the Thai government for being far lenient on the protesters, and they are doing all they can to engage with the protesters by calling in this special session. Of course, could be, as the critics say, it's a gesture without much substance. But I wish that the Thai people and the government can sort this matter out. And moving from one protester to the other, which is being held in Belarus as expected on every Sunday, it seems, every weekend. Not Sunday, but every weekend. But so it seems that tens of thousands of Belarusians are taking part in rallies against President Alexander Lukashenko as the deadline set by the opposition for him to step down or face a nationwide strike passed. Now, the rallies came despite a warning by the Interior Ministry that people should not attend demonstrations for which there were no permits that had been issued. Of course, ahead of the protest, mobile internet was reportedly disrupted and 12 subway stations were closed in the capital due to quote unquote security reasons. Such measures have been reported during past protests in what appeared to be an attempt to disrupt the free flow of information. Eyewitnesses also reported a heavy presence of security forces in the city. Smaller anti-government demonstrations were also held in several other cities. And so far more than 12,000 Belarusians have been detained. Again, just like Thailand, the protesters and the government are at loggerheads. The demands from each side are unacceptable to the other side. Now, I hope that Belarus can find a way to solve their internal problems, just like Thailand. But my wish is just going to be just that, a wish. Well, that's it for this video. If you like the video, then hit that like button and hit that subscribe button for future updates. Write in the comments your thoughts, criticisms, and anything I might have missed. And I will see you in the next video.